Jared, can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? You can hear me? Okay. Well, I cannot hear anybody else. So that's fine. I cannot hear Surfer when he's talking. So I'm not quite sure what's going on with that. But if you guys can hear me, that's all that matters. But I can turn Surfer up on my phone to see if I can make this work still. So Jared, if you want to try still, hop on. Yes, I can hear you guys loud and clear. What happened to Jared? The other player was asking me to turn on camera and mic. I already sent it. I can send it to him again. I just got to go. Give me a second. Let me go over to YouTube. Well, looks like Peng is live right now too. One second, Jared. No. I'm working on it. One second, buddy. "83 years young, that is awesome." So I posted a link. I'll post it in chat on YouTube as well, through the YouTube channels. I'm going in the chat now. I'll get it posted here in just a second. Oh, there we go.
Can you hear me now?
Are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you on my phone, but for some reason I have no audio on my laptop. Do you guys hear an echo?
I don't know if they're saying they can hear me or they can hear an echo.
Second delay, Jared, but that's okay. Let's go.
All right. Hi, everybody. How's it going?
Going good, brother. Thanks for popping up.
I will agree with you. The last time we've had a functioning government was Bill Clinton when he was in power and the Republicans had the Congress and Senate. I'm driving.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Last time we really had a good working government was with Bill Clinton, in my opinion.
Since then, we've pretty much had either Republicans or Democrats in charge.
Everybody's going to be different. They're all going to say a different president at certain times because that president did them better.
Yeah, that's true. Is it too distracting for me driving? I'll be home in a little bit.
So you're driving right now. Where are you going?
I'm returning from Trader Joe's back home with pizza sauce. We're making some pizzas tonight.
No, what's distracting is this delay is bothering me.
Got it.
I'm trying to get it fixed on my laptop. I don't know why it's not giving me the sound that I need. But give me a second. Try one more thing.
Is that better?
Yes, I can hear you now. I'm perfect.
Okay, perfect.
Much better. All right. So yes, go ahead, buddy. You were talking Bill Clinton. You think Bill Clinton was the last time he had a good presidency? A good working office as presidency?
Yeah, so in my opinion, this country works best when everybody feels like their voice is being heard.
True.
And that's the last time we've had, I think, both sides of the aisle represented. And they had to work together. They had to compromise. They had to figure out how to get things done. Since then, it's pretty much been one-sided, and it's caused more extremes. I think the other issue we ran into, too, is all of the stimulus payments that started coming out from the Fed have really screwed things up big time.
Oh, yeah. Well, they mentioned it afterwards that the trickle effect and the downside of that was going to be catastrophic. And here we are dealing with it now. And honestly, what did that get people? That got them new wheels and tires on their car, or a flat screen TV, or, you know, whatever was shiny at the time that they wanted to go out and buy because it was just bonus money to them. You know, which I get, but unfortunately a lot of people spent it frivolously instead of doing something good with it.
It did. And so, you know, you saw a lot of collectibles go up in value during the pandemic. Watches, comic books, Pokemon cards. You even saw people buying a lot of, you know, they drove up the price of silver coins that had Batman and Spider-Man on them. And it's because they had extra money, and it felt like they could do it, and a lot of people were home. I never worked so hard in my life as during the pandemic. You know, I had more hours spent working for my company during that time. But a lot of people were at home. They didn't have anything better to do. They were getting stimulus. I didn't get the stimulus. I didn't qualify for it. And, you know, you have to deal with things. But that created this whole opportunity of people driving prices up for things that were collectible, and now we're seeing the fallout of that. I just sold a bunch of collectible coins, and I got maybe $15 more than spot price, maybe $20 more for a bunch of Marvel coins. I didn't get double the price or triple the price of silver like when I purchased them. So I'm kind of done buying that stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm actually offloading all my stuff. I traded some Pokemon cards to a guy at work for some silver recently.
Yep.
I'm looking to get rid of things that will have little to no value if there was no collectability to it. So my football cards, I'm offloading my football cards. My all the stuff that I've prided myself on having, something that I've been collecting and have this old number Pokemon or old number comic books and things like that. Those are only worth something to a collector. They're not worth to anybody anywhere else except for Firestar. And I don't want that collectability to go to waste because I've been sitting on it for a while. So I'm going to offload it now. That way, people that can pay for it can still pay for it, because there will be a time where they won't be buying those things. And I want to get my money back out of them while I can.
And I think it goes the other way too. Right now is a great time to be buying collectibles if there's something you really have your heart on. It's not a great time to just be buying them to have them, but if there's something you've been dying for, silver's more expensive now than it used to be. You might be able to, pick up that favorite comic book you've always wanted, but it's going to get even better if you can wait. A lot of people have been messaging me and leaving comments about my last video I did with David Morgan, where we talk, basically the title of it talks about that we're in the acceleration phase, and everybody's like, it doesn't feel like we're accelerating, it feels like we're crashing. It's going to feel like it. We're probably going to have 4 major crashes in silver, if not 5, over the next 10 years in this bull run. And every one of those crashes is going to be pretty big. And I've been telling people, and no one's paying attention to me on this, you're going to see the gold and silver ratio go all over the place. It's going to be a roller coaster. You're probably going to see it hit 80 again or close to that. And you're probably going to see it go down to 30. And it's going to go up and down. And one of the reasons that's going to happen is because gold is a safe haven. Silver is a speculation. It is not a safe haven. Now, it can become a safe haven if everything else goes to crap and we start printing a ton of money. But there's going to be a time where silver is going to, I think silver is still probably going to 5x from here. I still think we have a huge possibility of $500 silver. It might even 10x from here. It's done that in the past. That's not crazy talk. Certain things have to happen for that to happen, and I wouldn't plan on it. I wouldn't bet your life on silver going to $500 or to $1,000. But if it does, at that point, you're going to have a time to pick up anything you've wanted to for major sales priced in silver. Comic books, Pokemon cards, all that stuff. Buying a car. Everything's going to be much more affordable if you hold silver. Same with gold. But silver more so.
Well, I mean, ultimately, I do stack the silver to get to the gold.
Yep.
That's essentially what my whole stacking goal is to get to the gold, because I can't afford gold 1 ounces in one pop. So I stack silver to build to the gold, to stack the gold to build to the bigger gold. So stacking takes work and it takes steps. A lot of people don't realize that when you set the goal, you have to actually perform the steps to get to that goal. So ultimately, for me, the goal is to get to gold, right? I'm still going to have silver. I'm a silver stacker by heart. But ultimately, the gold safe haven is what I'm shooting for. So if I stack, because I stack silver to get to the gold. So I'll stack up the silver and I'll get to a gram, or, well, now it's not just a gram, it could be a tenth, but you know what I'm saying. So ultimately, my goal is to get to the gold. I'm going to have silver for when that time comes, but I want the gold.
For sure. And, I think everybody's goal should be to have gold. There's a lot of people that are silver stackers that can't afford to buy an ounce of gold, but they do have silver. If you can have some patience with it, do not freak out. We still may see $50 silver. Heck, we could see $15 to $20 silver if everything crashes, like the Great Depression, 1929. Short of that, it's not going to, I don't even think it's going to go down to 50. You know, it could approach that again. So, you know, there's a lot of manipulation. There's a lot of games being played. This isn't just stackers versus some bullion banks. We're dealing with countries now that want this as a strategic resource. You've pretty soon you're going to have, I think it's in April, you've got India starting to take and let people borrow against silver at a 20 to 1, I think, with gold. So it doesn't mean that they're pegging a price to it, but they are letting you borrow it at a certain rate. So, you know, there's new things going on. We're going to have a floor that's created for silver. And next time I go live, I'll talk a little bit more specifically about that. But, you know, the reality is that the metals are going to go up and down. Anytime you see it down, in my opinion, you should be buying. I can't always do that because here in California, you've got to buy $2,000 worth or you get taxed like crazy. So, you know, you got to do it either at a coin show or you've got to do it from a local coin shop that's willing to look the other way on the sales tax, or you've got to do it peer-to-peer. I used to be able to pick up a lot on YouTube auctions from like Stormy or Guido. And, you know, I learned how to buy right on those places. You can also buy really high and overpay for things, but, you know, I think it's a good time to keep doing that. And by the way, it's money. So if you have to, you sell it. You know, from time to time you have to. Like I sold my One Gold stuff. I got up to 100% return on One Gold with my silver. And I originally had gold. I swapped it at 76 ratio and turned it into silver. And then when silver was down at about, I think a 55 ratio or so, I sold it because I needed some liquidity. And so for me, it made sense to do that versus going and selling my physical stuff. And that's one of the reasons I do Vault and I use some of those services is it becomes a way for me to save in the bank. That wasn't silver I'm counting on long term. That was silver versus, say, a CD for 5 months. And guess what? 100% return blew away any CD earnings that I could have made.
Oh, for sure. For sure. CDs are a joke. Ultimately, they used to be nice, where if you put 100,000 in, you could get with a bonus rate anywhere between, you know, 3 to 5 to 10%. But nowadays, your CD is just it's a locked away version of a savings account that really doesn't pay much. And people are settling for 1% rates on their CD. I mean, that is insane. Last time I was doing banking stuff, that's a ridiculous number for people to be willing to lock their money up for.
It totally is. I need to take a break for 5 minutes. I will be back in a couple minutes.
No problem. OC, what's going on, buddy? You want to pop up to OC? Yeah, CDs are, you know, listen, guys, when I was banking last, because you guys, if you don't know anything about me, I was a licensed banker. Okay. I could invest your money in stocks and bonds. I could invest your money in fixed rate annuities, you know, all kinds of stuff. So, you know, I just don't give financial advice. But I've done a bit of stuff when it comes to the financial world. And that's why it's so easy for me to talk about some of this stuff. But I ultimately don't like giving financial advice because your guys' stack is your guys' stack. And my stack is just my savings account. Okay, so people's stacks all serve different purposes. So But anyways, a fixed rate annuity would get you a better percentage than what these are, and you're still investing your money into essentially an insurance company, you know, at a fixed rate. With the fixed rate annuities, these insurance companies have to have $10 in reserve per dollar invested in. So you're always guaranteed to get your money back, but it just depends on you, where you are in your thing. Annuities aren't always the best thing for a lot of people. So just check with your financial advisor and talk to them about stuff. And you're allowed to tell them where you're at. I stack to feed the addiction. I think we all kind of stack to feed the addiction. I love buying stuff, so buying silver and gold makes it easy for me because I'm just converting my fiat currency into metals, and I'm buying something too, so I service that need and want as well. Luminaries still in chat. Thank you, Lumi. I'll probably go for about another half hour, 45 minutes, and I'm going to go up and get the girls. So Little Stacker's got some stuff. Little Humble, she's got some stuff here for her from people in the old community. Stack that gold, send her some copper. And he's sent her a little gold vial here. Funny thing is she's going to laugh at this. Because she knows there's no gold in here. It's a novelty, but there's no gold in there. Little Humble knows what gold looks like and feels like. Still getting over something, so sorry I'm a little hacky, you guys. But I appreciate you bearing with me. Going through some stuff, I found this 3-pence silver coin on my table. There's a lot of other cards and flips, and I realize it's a 50%er. Now, I don't really like stacking anything under 80%, but I'll be honest with you. Foreign silver is always cool. One thing I would really avoid more than anything else is stacking those 10% pesos from Mexico that are only 10%, which is not much metal at all. She starts her shipping lessons once money comes in. Then her shipping lessons start. Nick's been asking me about it as well. That is a good score, Osi. Next week, me and the girls are heading to the Cleveland Coin Show. Nice. I had 20 rolls of 2026 nickels yesterday and heard they're selling for $20 a roll on eBay. That's pretty crazy. Shipping lessons, as in like USPS, how to ship something. OC's been trying to get the Eagle and other things, my shovel. So him and Nick are bribing Little Humble and Madison to get these items shipped off to them. Only buy war nickels if they're cheap and just right time. But don't like them if somebody else is around. Honestly, I don't really like stacking war nickels. I have a couple, but I don't actively stack them. I mean, they are silver, 35%, but they take up a lot of space. So I pretty much stay away from them. So, what's up, Muscle Shell? So, OC tells Little Humble that he'll send her pay dirts because she likes to pay him for gold. Um, and hundreds of dollars, might I add. I've heard hundreds of dollars in chat as well. And for Madison, same thing. But Madison straight up said last time that if she was going to steal this, she'd keep it for herself and she wouldn't ship it. And that's my girl right there. Oh, little exciting news about Madison, you guys. I don't know if you heard me recently or not, but she came up to me last weekend and she was talking about how her piggy bank is getting full of pennies. And I said, okay. She says, I use them, don't get me wrong, but I just have a lot of them. I'm like, yeah. And she goes, I like to collect them so I can look at the dates. And that was the door opening, you guys. That was the door opening. So the door cracked open and I felt the gust of wind come through. You know what I mean? And so I'm like, oh, so you like to look at the old date coins? She's like, yeah, I like to see how old of a penny I have. And I'm like, really? So you like the older design coins? She's like, yes. I'm like, okay. So that door opened a little more with every little question. Every little question, the door opened just a little more and a little more. And so I'm like, so you like old pennies? So like when I show you an old coin, you actually like the old coin if it's an old coin. She's like, yeah, I love the old coin. So I'm like, okay, cool. So door opened a little more. So I gave her a 1901 Indian head, right, which is the oldest penny she has. She's like, some of my pennies are like, they have like this weird fuzzy green stuff on them. I'm like, okay, that's corrosion for a penny, which means they just got dirty at one time. So keep your other pennies away from those ones. So I started talking to her a little bit, but I gave her an old Indian head. I gave her a 43 Steely, that's a BU, and a couple of other older coins. So happy, you guys. I don't know if you can hear my smile right now. But like Elle said, proud moment. Yes, you should be able to hear my smile. Super stoked when she started talking to me about coins. All right, and yes, that is a ping-worthy moment. Put you to sleep with that Godzilla energy. Here we go. One more. So yeah, totally stoked, you guys. Totally stoked. It was just a matter of time. I just needed to listen a little better to hear some things and get her to talk about it a little more. But yes, Cumulus Vapes, what's up? J-Lo, what's going on? Niels Han, how you doing, buddy? So yeah, very, very excited when she said that. Totally stoked. Very, 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 very excited. So 2 for 3, guys. I'm at 2 for 3 right now. The pinging or me talking about the coins? But yeah, so I was really, really excited to hear her say that. And so when she said that, I felt that door crack open, a little bit of a breeze come through, and then I opened it more and more and more. So hopefully that door is wide enough to where my big ass can walk through it regularly now. Now, if I can, which I will in time, if I can just teach her the value of the dollar, though, you know what I mean? That's the biggest thing. The value of the dollar at this point. Well, I hope Surfer remembers. I'm sure he remembers that we're streaming. OC, did you want to come up? OC Stacker? Yeah, guys, make sure you are subbed up to Stacking Surfer and everybody in chat. Big shout out to OC Omega, who crossed 300 subs recently. Good job, buddy. His channel's coming along pretty quick. So make sure if you guys aren't subbed up to OC Omega, you get over there and sub him up. He's got some pretty cool stuff. He shows off a lot of stuff. Like that last Damascus knife you showed off. That's pretty sick. I like fixed blade knives like that, especially old school Damascus. Cumulus is almost at 50. Let's get him to 50. What are you at right now, Cumulus? How many?
Okay, I'm back.
All right, sweet. Surfer's back. Let's go. So yeah, we're just talking. I mentioned about, you know, fixed rate CDs are just not really what they should be or what they used to be. You can find other fixed rate vehicles, but still you're locking your money up. And I like to keep my money, if it's going to be anywhere, it's going to be locked up in metals. It's not going to be locked up in a CD or something I can't get to, or something that would have a penalty that I couldn't break. And that's where you're at with a CD or a fixed rate annuity or something like that.
So yeah, we left off on CDs, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, we had a little bit of an emergency to get the pizza sauce home, to get the pizzas going. Sorry about that, everybody. So I sold my One Gold stuff, not because I don't like One Gold, but because I needed to liquidate it. One of the issues I run into every year is I usually owe tens of thousands of dollars in taxes, and I've got to pay that in April here. I don't really do like the whole quarterly payment thing. I have better ways to invest my money than to give it to the government for free for a year.
Yep.
So, and my annual bonus for my day job doesn't come until a couple days after tax day.
Oh, so you gotta scramble for a few days.
So, yeah, and it's not a little bit of money usually. It's usually quite a bit of money. So, they do take money out of my paycheck, but I always have side things that are going on in addition to my job. And that's where, I end up owing other money. So right now I'm kind of in getting as much liquid as I can.
Your audio is going pretty bad, buddy.
Uh-oh. It might be cutting off and on. Here, give me just a minute.
No, it's better now. We lost you for a second there, though.
Okay. Yeah, where I live, there's not a lot of good cell signals. It's a little spotty. So, looking at that, I still think silver's got a huge upward trajectory, and I think we're going to see it do really well. I think people are going to be surprised. And I think you're going to see games being played between now and then, right? You've got all these files that are being released that have a bunch of very prominent people's names all over them. And I don't think we've even seen everything yet. And I think
Oh,
there's
I
other
think we
junk that's
barely
probably going to come
scratched.
out.
Oh yeah, I think we
Yeah.
barely scratched the surface on all that stuff.
And so, what do you do? What do you do when your entire financial system's collapsing and people start releasing all kinds of stuff about you? You go to war. Is what happens. And now we've got a third. We basically have, this is kind of, I guess it's an extension of the war Israel was in, but it's kind of a technical third war now. And so I'm just waiting to see if China starts moving on Taiwan or not.
Oh yeah,
Um,
because that will be the catalyst, if I might say, in my opinion, that'll be the big catalyst for something that's unfortunately going to be more global than just territorial
I
or
think so
regional.
too. Now, I don't think we're anywhere near World War III with nuclear weapons going all over the place. I don't think that's going to be going down right now. I think what we're dealing with is much more of an empire. If you guys haven't seen it, Ray Dalio, go look up him on YouTube. He's a billionaire, and he's one of the few billionaires that's speaking out about you know all the stuff that's going on, and he's really pushing people for gold and silver. And he's saying don't buy Bitcoin because, well, for a lot of reasons. And it's good to hear it from him in what he has to say about it. And it's completely logical. It's not a I have gold, so I like gold. Um, it it makes a lot of sense. But he has some great videos about the currency cycles. And right now, the United States, being the world reserve currency, is on the way out. And there's another one that's coming up, which is probably China. I might argue if China doesn't play it well, it'll be India. Um, India just doesn't seem quite as well put together, but they have more people, and they also, do like precious metals a lot. So they're a little bit less mature, but India's gotten them. I'm sorry, China's gotten themselves into a lot of debt too, and a lot of issues. So we'll see what happens. But when these currency cycles happen, you end up in a war, and I think that's a lot of what we're seeing here. Is it's the old power trying to stay in control and everything, right? So if you look at it, um, we hit Venezuela, which
Yeah.
stopped oil going to China. They were getting 80% of that oil. So then they turned to Iran to get oil. We just hit Iran. So now that oil is not going to China. And then we're also talking about having a silver floor, which is going to stop silver from leaving the US and going to China. Um, and there may be some other mechanisms that go into place to stop it from doing that, because they keep having higher prices on their Shanghai exchange than the COMEX. So you've got a sucking sound of metals going from the west to the east. And I think that's what we're dealing with. And so, in my opinion, I don't want to hold anything else but gold and silver and the real estate I live on right now. That's really the only thing I want to hold. If you've got a good cash flowing business, hold on to that too. But I think we're going to see everything else go way down in value compared to gold and silver. And I think we're also going to see massive issues with inflation. And so for me, that's why we got these channels, and that's why we're trying to educate people and help them. Because when you get prices down like they have been for the last week, and they're still quite a bit down from the all-time highs they hit, people start freaking out that maybe this is over. And we're nowhere close to having it be over. If anything, we're at the beginning of the second inning.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, there's a lot more game to play here, and I'm completely on board with you there as well. Um, when it comes to being down this whole week, it's been nothing but, if you have the cash flow, a buying opportunity for most people, and that's good because they are adding to the stack. I feel that a lot of it is FOMO, though, unfortunately, and I can't help express enough to everybody that that's the wrong reason to buy, even though you are buying for long term. Having it is a good thing to have, but FOMO is the wrong reason to buy. So sticking to your schedule and just dealing with the highs and the lows people are, I see in chat all the time, people are stockpiling money waiting for the big dip. Well, this is a big dip compared to what it was last week or the week before. So how much of a dip are we talking? Are you talking $40 silver, $50 silver? Because there's a chance that might not happen. And you've already mentioned that here. It could happen, it could not. Unfortunately, silver's too speculative to gamble for me in that sense. So that's why I stack regularly, more on a schedule. I don't stockpile cash. I can't afford to. You have to though from
Well, and
time to time for your taxes.
I do from time to time. So there's a couple things I recommend. You mentioned this earlier. You can't eat gold and silver, and if you do, it's going to pass through you.
Yeah.
I mean, some people eat gold scrap. I guess they put it on food. Fancy people. But I'm still a big proponent for having a year's supply of food if you can afford it and you have a place to store it. And if you're going to do that, it needs to be done in one of two ways, and you can combine this. One is 25 to 30-year long freeze-dried food. And the other one is to rotate your supplies out. So if you can rotate a lot of your supplies out annually, you can always have like a year supply. It's hard to do it. It's much easier if you've got one or two people. It's much harder with a family. And
you pile more with a family for
you
that
do.
person, right? So you have to go through that stock. And yes, cycling. You are hitting a great point. Continue, please.
So when you're doing that, there's a couple things you got to do. One is you need to get to as close as you can to a month's worth of water. Where I live, we don't have any rivers or lakes. We have a couple reservoirs that they have. You'd have like, I don't know, 300,000 people, 400,000 people trying to fight for one of those reservoirs. So that's not really a good source of water. I don't want to drink out of the ocean, even if I can desalinate it, because it still has Fukushima radiation in it. We go surfing, we wash off really well afterwards. The water's just not real clean. And so you need water storage, okay? It doesn't rain here very much in California. So you got to have water storage. The second thing is you want to have food. And you can start off with just enough for 2 weeks and you grow it from there. The goal is a year because you can't eat gold and silver. And then the next thing I like to look at is protection and then shelter and energy security. So we don't get, where I live, we're close to the beach. We don't get too hot. We don't get too cold. And so our average temperature is 72 degrees year round. And you can pretty much survive with either dressing down into shorts in your house or putting a blanket over you. You really don't need to have what do you call it, like a heater necessarily going or air conditioning going.
Yeah.
And then the last part is you want to have constitutional silver for bartering in case things really get dicey. And you also want to have other stuff for bartering, things like deodorant, shampoo, soap, lighters, cigarettes, alcohol, all that kind of stuff, right?
Ammunition, yeah.
Yep, ammunition, all that stuff. And you want to have a few guns in case one of them doesn't work or whatever else. And the best thing to do is try to get all of them to have the same caliber so you're not having to buy a bunch of different caliber bullets. And then your stack of gold and silver comes in for after the crazy times. It's when the crazy times are done and those assets explode up in value. So, if we ever do get into a Great Depression again, they're going to print us out of it. They're not going to allow us to have another Great Depression. And when they go to print out of it, it's going to cause inflation. The first thing that goes skyrocketing up should be gold and silver. And it won't be a little bit, like it'll be a lot that those go up. And you'll be able to buy things that you haven't, normally been able to afford. So that's kind of how I look at it. And so, the other thing I like to have is emergency funds. I like to have anywhere from 2 weeks to about a year's worth of expenses liquid. And for me in the past, that used to be cash. Now that is gold and silver is counted as part of that. So if you can have enough to support your family for a year plus food storage, you can get by for about a year to 2 years without having to work, um, you put yourself in a position that you should really not have a lot of fears.
True. Yes. Now, I had somebody in chat a little bit ago when you were gone talk about constitutional silver. Now, if I'm not mistaken, your sweet spot dollar amount for constitutional silver, if I'm not mistaken, is $100 face per body in the household. Is that correct?
That's the starting place that I think everybody should get to as a goal.
Yeah, minimum.
Minimum. Once you hit that, you may go 2 or 3. Now, the calculation that I kind of look at is a dime a day. And you can go less than that. So if you picture a dime is a dozen eggs, another dime is, say, a loaf of bread. Um, and we're not talking Wonder Bread. We're talking, homemade artisan type bread.
Yeah, homemade
Um,
because they're not going to have the mass production stuff. It's going to be somebody at home making
yeah, and then
bread.
other stuff you could buy maybe 3 loaves with it. But there'll be periods of time where a dime would buy a dozen eggs and a loaf of bread. There's other times where it'll buy you just one of those. So, a dime can get you a gallon of milk. It can get you a loaf of bread. It can get you, a dozen eggs. Most likely it's going to get you 2 of each of those for a dime. So if you kind of look at that, you figure out maybe you need 4 or 5 dimes a week for enough groceries for, one person. That's kind of the calculation that I would set up, and then figure out how many dimes you need. And then you can easily do the calculation into quarters and half dollars. Um, that's where I look at with the constitutional is how can I get to the point where I have 1 year's worth of food based on the dimes being valued based on the silver. Okay.
So let me ask: is the stockpile on food, and is it a combination of both, or is the $100 face in dimes in lieu of the year's worth of food?
To me, it's giving you options. So I try to do all of them. So, theoretically, if you have a year supply of expenses in gold and silver, you can survive a year because that's your expenses. So you don't even need food storage for that per se. If you've got a year's worth of food storage, you now have a second year. And then if you have constitutional silver, which can be included in that, year's worth of supply. But if you have extra on the side, then theoretically you've got 3 years. When I talk to like Lynette Zhang, she has 10 years worth of constitutional silver for each family member. So she's planning on potentially having to survive for 10 years and have enough constitutional silver to do that. And then, she keeps her collectible gold as the way to rebuild afterwards.
That's awesome. That's awesome. But
But that's a lot of silver, a lot of
yeah, I was gonna
constitutional
say
silver.
let's pull it back a little bit because we if we were all in that Zangs, then we wouldn't be
I
we
know
wouldn't be as
we'd
good
be in
as
a different boat.
possible. Yeah.
Do you need 10 years? No, you don't. I mean, look, um, most catastrophes last maybe a week at the most, and you've got, you know, American Red Cross, and you've got other organizations that are out there feeding you and supporting you. So the most important thing is probably having, 72-hour kit, so 3 days worth of supplies and backpacks, so you can transport and go with them pretty easily. I live in earthquake country. We have at least 2 people's worth of 72-hour kits in the back of every car. We could be at LA at a Dodgers game and we could have a massive earthquake. They usually happen on Sunday mornings, so we probably won't be there, but they don't always happen at that time. And if we get caught in one of those, we want to be able to.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, any car that I have has a go bag in it. You're breaking up again, Surfer. We'll wait for you to get signal again.
Yeah, let me do this. I will. I'm going to wait for a few minutes as I get through this.
No, you're good. You're good. I'll probably be on for another half hour or so. So, um, but yeah. So like Surfer's saying, making sure you have the food, making sure you have $100 face to start when it comes to constitutional. Now, you can have a mixture. The reason that he says dimes is because it's the smallest amount that you can negotiate with. Now, if I'm only buying a loaf of bread for, do I want to negotiate a whole Morgan or a peace dollar for that? No. I'll negotiate a dime for that. So, so that makes complete sense. That's a great plan. I have quite a bit of constitutional, not all dimes like that, but honestly, that's been my push lately. The reason 1 grammers are good too, L. The reason 1 grammers wouldn't necessarily, in my opinion, be the best thing for those is because people wouldn't know what they are or be able to test them. Where a dime, a dime is definitely something that can be looked at and known it's silver. I'd imagine that constitutional is probably going to be more common when it comes to certain cases like that, unless you're dealing with somebody in the know. If you're dealing with somebody in the know, then 1 grammers would be perfect. So having some around wouldn't be a bad idea. Would I focus all of my stack in fractional silver? Would I focus any of it really on fractional silver? Probably not. I would focus more on constitutional, but that's me. The biggest thing is having it for when you need it. I've got fractional silver, for when the time comes. But I would imagine that dimes, quarters, and 50-cent pieces would be easier to deal with and probably be more common. So I would rather stack a few dimes with me and head off to the store opposed to stacking some small silver and them not take it. War pickles are 35% silver serpents. And I have some. Don't get me wrong. I have some war nickels. I just don't focus on them in the stack. And the reason I don't focus on them in the stack is because, well, they're only 35% silver. And very easy for somebody not to realize it is a silver, because people don't realize that if it has the letter over the top of the Monticello, then it is a silver war nickel. Oh, there's less silver in a war nickel. Yeah, war nickels have way less silver than your silver dime does. And they're harder to negotiate, yes. So I don't regularly stack 40%. I don't. I do have some. I have some 40%ers, you know. But do I actively stack them? No. I do have some though. But I prefer my 90%ers, whether that be a Kennedy, a Jefferson, or not Jefferson, a Benji. I mean, all of them. I don't know why I said Jefferson. Pesos have history. That's the cool thing about pesos is they have that history behind them, which makes them very collectible. You know, I've got this 40% Ike. I picked this up, this 40% Ike. I picked this up for like $12 on Whatnot. One second, let me knock all my shit over here. So we're only going to be on for another few minutes, you guys, and I'm going to be splitting and going getting the girls. So I appreciate Stacker coming on, or surfing, Stacking Surfer coming on for a little bit. I don't know why I was all tongue tied on his name. That was awesome. We're mostly in Mercury Harbor and walking for news and silver. I have the last couple of days off, and I popped up early today yesterday and today because I'm off. So, popping on earlier is okay. I tried to find time slots to where I wasn't going to be invading on other people's times. And then I realized that Peng's, doing coin roll hunting right now, and I didn't realize it. So I appreciate all you guys for stopping by. The reason my time slots are normally what they are is because of my work schedule. I work 11 to 12 hours a day, come home, hang out for about a half hour, maybe a little longer, and then hop on a stream. Thanks for coming by, TFT. I appreciate you. Thank you. So we are on our road to 1,000. You guys are all amazing, by the way. We got a new member today. Luminary Shines signed up for membership today, which is totally awesome. She is now part of the Humbles Heroes. So thank you, Lumi, for signing up. I appreciate you. Much love. And as Tonya Schuyler does, she wants to go fishing, so I'm gonna have to set something up. Yes, Little Humble, her name is Skylar. Little Humble, yep. Little Humble Stacker. She is a Skylar. And I fortunately was able to name her, and she is such a Skylar. If you guys paid any attention to her and you knew anything about Skylars or their name or the way they act, she's perfect. They're all perfect. Their names fit every single one of their personalities. Yep, Skylar Ann. You got a Madison Salone, a Chloe May, and a Skylar Ann. I forgot one of my 40s. But yes, Little Humble Stacker. And by the way, everybody who is in chat that has sent her something, you guys, she very much appreciates everything. My drive is about 35 minutes, which is about 30 minutes shorter than it used to be. So I'm happy about that. I'm not happy about being the only one making the drive every week. I mean, I did buy her a car 2 years ago because she promised she was going to help. The real gear, what's up, buddy? But it is what it is. I complain about it, but I still do it because my kids are so worth every minute I spend on the road, every dime I spend in gas, every tampon I have to buy, every thing of mascara I gotta buy. It doesn't matter. They are worth every single dime I spend on them. Everything I do is for them. Like literally everything I do is for them. I just want them to not have to experience some of the things I had to experience. So like when I tell them I can't get them something, it's because they don't need it, not because I can't get it. You know what I mean? If they needed it, I can get it. So it's not the fact that I can't afford it because I can afford it. I just got to move stuff around. It's the fact that they don't need it. You know, so like Madison threw a fit a year ago about having an iPhone. She just wanted an iPhone. Well, she didn't throw a fit. You just got in an argument about it. But her phone's functioning. It's fine. I bought her an iPhone for Christmas. You know, you didn't need a phone. Your phone was fine. You wanted a phone, which is completely different than needing a phone. Just, you know, they don't need a lot of the things that the Joneses tell them they need. And Madison, she's really good though. So she doesn't spend my money without thinking 5 steps forward. So like she will rationalize buying the house brand, whatever it is, or do research and tell me where she can get it for the lowest price because she knows it's expensive or this or that. So I got to give it to her because she does her homework. And so, like, she came to me last weekend. She's like, Dad, like, yeah. She goes, okay, so I'm not going to get my license until I'm 18. And I'm like, okay. She says, so this is my thought process behind this. Tell me if I'm right or tell me what I'm thinking. I'm like, okay. She goes, look, I'm over 17. I'm almost 17 and a half. And I said, okay. She says, if I sign up for it, I missed this month already. I'll have to sign up for next month. Okay. It's a 3-month course. So yeah. She says, so essentially, I'm going to have you and Mom pay $500 for 3 months worth of driving that I'll be able to drive 3 months without having one of you guys in the car. And I said, yeah. And she says, why don't I just wait the 3 months more till I turn 18? So I'll just go get my learner's permit. I'll drive your car around. I love the way she rationalized I'll drive your car around too. I'll drive your car around, get all the experience I need. That way when I turn 18, I can just go get it. Like, okay. Like, all right. So you want to wait because you want to save me and your mom money. I want you to know that it has nothing to do with saving me and your mom money. It's just that I understand. It's not that. It's not just the saving money, but honestly, it doesn't make sense to do it for only 3 months worth of driving when I can drive 3 months after that and not have any issues. I said, okay, cool. Plus, there's many more ways we can spend that money. Okay, I gotcha. We'll see what she comes up with here soon. But, you know, I'm going to buy her first car. My parents didn't buy me my first car. I bought my first car, and it got stolen by my mom's boyfriend. And the second car I bought, Silver Serpents is over on Whatnot, winning. Gauze, you go, boy. Gauze are awesome. Money does not grow on trees. I got bills to pay, I got mouths to feed, and ain't nothing in this world for free. There ain't no rest for the wicked until we close our eyes for good. Yes, and my money does not grow on trees either, and at least she understands that. So that's good. She's pretty good. She doesn't spend my money without doing research and finding the cheapest way to do it as possible. And I appreciate that much about her. She's very humble and very frugal. She understands that when something's functional, it's functional. And there's no reason to fix something that ain't broken. Yeah, man. Silver's awesome. 68 slabbed Irish Lucky Penny. I sent one of those to Richard. Richard, are you in chat? What's going on, Brad? If Richard's in chat, I sent one of those to him. Actually, I sent two of them to him. I think he only got one of them, though. But those Irish pennies that are slabbed, those are sick. Those are the last penny ever made from Ireland. From Ireland. The motherland. Land of the potato farmer. You got 17 in chat. Thank you, everybody, for being here. You guys, make sure you're all liking each other up and subbing each other up. Yeah, tomorrow we have a stream. Me and Broke are doing a stream tomorrow. Broke and I do his streams every 3 weeks because of his work schedule is pretty demanding. So I would imagine I'll message him tonight at one point and see what time he's planning on doing the stream tomorrow. Probably going to be around normal time, 8:30 Pacific, for the Broken Humble show. But yep. Yeah, so he's an hour behind me. Or ahead of me. He's an hour ahead of me. I thought he was, but it doesn't look like it. Which is fine because I'm going to have to split here in a few minutes anyways and go get the girls. I was only planning on popping on for about an hour or so, but then Surfer said he wanted to come up, which is awesome because I love it when Surfer comes up on my channel. It's always a pleasure. He's a very smart guy. He knows a lot about a lot of stuff. And of course, he'll tell you just like I'm going to tell you, make sure you guys are doing your own research and your own diligence to make sure that you're making the best move possible for you. Surfer, are you there, buddy? There he is. Surfer's in chat, it looks like. Which is cool. Surfer, you said you're probably going to pop on tomorrow or tonight. If you pop on tonight, I'll try to hop over and see you. If you pop on tomorrow, I'll see you tomorrow. No matter what. I'll see you when you pop on. I try to pop by all of your lives. But Surfer's got a lot of stuff going on. He had a pizza sauce catastrophe, which is kind of funny. He said pizza sauce because I bought some pizza dough today to make pizza with the girls this weekend. It's kind of cool. Just got to go buy the cheese and the old pep. But Surfer, he doesn't look like he's going to come back. He's got some other stuff going on, which is fine. I'll pop over. Like I said, I'll pop over and see you when I see you. If you're tonight or tomorrow, whenever. I'll see you then. But hey, you guys, I'm going to split. I got to head out. Got to go get the girls. It is time for Humble to go be a dad. Which I'm a dad all the time, but you know what I mean. Go get the girls, spend some time with them. You know, I enjoy my time with them. I get them for extra time this weekend as well, so that's awesome. I get them as often as I can, but the fact that I have tomorrow off is awesome. I will see you all later. Thank you all for being here. I'll pop by all you guys' chats or streams if you're on later on. I will see you all later. Thank you all for being here. Like I always say, stack what you can where you can. Nothing I say is financial advice. I was talking about annuities and all the other stuff earlier. That's just other vehicles. But like I said, after that, talk to your financial advisor because everybody's position is different. And I wouldn't be recommending anything like that anytime for anybody anyways. Just, make sure that you are on. You'll be on in 10 block. So you guys make sure you shoot over and hop over and see block. I'll be on in 10 minutes. Block, are you doing Jenga tonight? Yeah, Blockers is cool. He does Jenga from time to time. Every Tuesday night he does auctions. And I'll tell you what, you guys, he has got some phenomenal glow-in-the-dark silver. I have 10 boxes of Canadian small cents I'm working my way through. Oh, you're doing coin roll hunting tonight? That's awesome. So make sure you guys pop over there, check him out. But yeah, he does auctions every Tuesday, and like I said, he's got an amazing glow-in-the-dark silver set. The collection, it's awesome, and that's just what he had out on the desk. He had all kinds of other stuff in the safe, he said. So if you guys are over there and he's showing off some of his silver, make sure you check it out. Also, I did a stream where he did some silver on mine as well. You can check it out. Other than that, you guys have a great night. I'm out of here. Humble's checking out. I'll see you all later. I probably won't be on tomorrow during the day, but I will be on tomorrow night with Broke. So make sure you guys check us out at the Broke and Humble Show over on Broke Stacker's channel. All right, you guys have a great night. I'll see you all later. Peace.